What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and this week on your D&D weekly update, we've got some new stuff coming to Neverwinter. We had our Unearthed Arcana for February, all about Psionics and Dungeons and Dragons with dogs. Stay tuned. So, why don't we just jump right into it? First up, we've got... I'm not going to go through this too crazily. This is the new, I guess, expansion coming out sometime this spring for Neverwinter. This takes place after the events of the Demogorgon fight. This is going to be all about Baphomet. As you can see, it's talking about bringing in all sorts of old allies. You can see Minsk. I think you see Driz towards the end here, Brunar Battlehammer. It's coming up in just, yeah, right here, Drizzt. And whoever else. It's called the Maze Engine. If you guys are fans of Neverwinter, probably be on the lookout for that coming later this year. Next up, the big one. First Unearthed Arcana, or the only Unearthed Arcana, I should say, for February. Looks like now that I'm getting that the schedule is the first Monday of the month, or so it seems. This is kind of a rehash of the Psionic class that they released, the Mystic, earlier, a couple months back. It only went to level 5. This is now a second take on it. This one goes to level 10. The beginning here, they basically talk all about the updates. Classic now goes to 10. Core concepts had enough support that we feel confident moving forward with them. Psionic's more flexible. You have a psionic focus, which allows you to pick one discipline and gain a constant special benefit from it. Otherwise, you can expend points to use any discipline you know. They now include talents, the equivalent of cantrips. Psionic disciplines are now available to all mystics, regardless of mystic order. However, your order gains you a specific benefit for using its associated disciplines. I'll be real. Psionics were never my thing in older editions. I just thought I don't know, just in my head, I never really sat down to rationalize it, and I just thought it too complicated. I'd say it's definitely kind of in the 5th edition theme, much simpler in this article. However, I think folks might get a little thrown off on the numbers game of things. So, background on Psionics, how it works. Here's your class. It's a D8 hit die, light armor, medium armor, simple weapons, intelligence and wisdom saving throws, 2 skills, a handful of items, and then here's your little bar, your little table rather. This is the one I feel like might throw people off. At level 10, you have 64 psi points. And the way this basically works is talents are, as they described before, are your cantrips. Disciplines are specific class-related things you can choose from. I'll show you those in a second. Psi points are, I guess, closest thing that exists in the game would be sorcery points, I guess. You spend, or key points, I guess would be a better option. You spend these points to power up your abilities. And this psi limit you see over here talks about how high you can spend, or how many you can spend per discipline that you're going to use. I'm going to try to do this very high level just because I feel like it's a lot. It is a lot. I can spend a lot of time going through it. Again, talents. Disciplines. You're going to choose, where is it? And then you're going to choose your Mystic Order at the beginning here. Order of the Awakened, Order of the Immortal, and different things happen there. And your psionic abilities work off your intelligence modifier. And then the focus is any discipline you have, you can choose to focus on it as a bonus action, and it will give you a consistent benefit. And there are certain things that if you go to use them, it immediately ends your focus. Recovery. When you spend psionic points, you regain hit points equal to your intelligence modifier if your current hit points are less than half. So you have some built-in healing. There are other healing disciplines. Standard ability score modifiers. You can choose to trade your proficiency in wisdom saving throw every short or long rest with either strength, dex, con, or charisma, so that's kind of neat. And consumptive power. For each point, you can, as a bonus action, you gain 5 points. 5 psi points. For each point you gain, you lose a hit point. hit points and hit point maximum. So you sort of have a sorcery kind of recovery system where you can get psi points back, but you take damage. Order of the Awakened seems to be your more, I guess I want to say more spellcasty, I guess. The other one seems more physical. So at first, you're going to get Mind Meld and Thought Spear, Psionic talents, so that's basically 2 cantrips. In addition to the ones you gain just in the base Psionic class. You're also going to get proficiency in 2 skills. In addition, choose 1 skill you're proficient with and get basically expertise on 1 skill. Then you basically get like a psychometric type ability. For those of you that don't know psychometry or what that is, if you know anything about the show Dead Zone or remember that show where the main character could touch something and basically learn something about it, something that had happened in the past, some sort of significant event that had happened. That's basically what this gives you. You focus for 10 minutes and you get that. Although you also get the ability to put a sensor on that. It's intangible, so you can basically kind of look through that item, more or less, and see whatever's around it. Psychic Surge. You can basically give an enemy disadvantage on against one of your psionic abilities, and you drop focus on whatever your psychic focus was. And then at 8, you add your intelligence modifier to damage you do with basically your psionic cantrips. Order of the Immortal, the one I'm personally more drawn to myself. Get heavy armor and shields and martial weapons. You basically, at the start of each of your turn, you gain temporary hit points equal to your intelligence modifier. That one I feel like might be a little too powerful. You just constantly gain temporary hit points. Maximum, I guess, intelligence modifier of 5, but you get 5 temporary hit points every turn, provided you have 1 hit point. That is not per long rest. Again, temporary hit points wouldn't stack, so you wouldn't get 5 and then 10 and then 15, but 5 free hit points every turn. Temporary hit points, but still. Surge of Health. As a reaction when you take damage, you can have that damage against you. You drop your psychic focus, you get this back on a short rest or a long rest, but basically you have uncanny dodge. And then at 8, when you hit... Oh, you basically get the cleric ability. When you hit somebody with your weapon, you deal extra damage. So when you reach level 8, you do a d8 psychic damage on your swings, and at 14, you do 2d8 psychic damage. So right off of that alone, I think the Order of Immortal, in my mind, is a solid class without even adding any of the extra stuff. No cantrips, none of the other abilities. That in and of itself, heavy armor, shields, all of the stuff you get from the base class, the ability to heal yourself, actual hit points with your mystical recovery, swapping out your saving throw for a different saving throw whenever you choose to do so, the ability to gain your side points back, all armor proficiencies and weapon proficiencies, up to 5 temporary hit points per turn, uncanny dodge once per short or long rest, and just flat out extra psychic damage, which is not very regularly resisted. Then you have your disciplines. I will explain how these work and then just jump through a couple of them and we'll move on. So, as I mentioned, you can choose to focus on any discipline and basically grant yourself a constant bonus. And then you will see certain things have ranges of psi points. Like, to use this ability, it's 3 psi points, or some might be 1 to 5, and that's limited by that psi limit that we saw on the top in the table. So this goes through 10. Level 10 is a psi limit of 7. So if you have an ability that uses 1 to 7 psi points, when you hit level 10, you could use all 7 or so on. But I feel like this is a lot of math. You're looking at 7 psi points, but you have 60-something. I realize these are like your whole ability, your whole basic thing, but still. They don't use components. Some of them have different durations. Some are instantaneous, some are concentration, some have saving throws, some are AoE. So basically, there are greater and lesser ones. I believe it tells you, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up, watch your eyes. Psychic disciplines. At first level, you know 2 lesser disciplines of your choice. You learn additional disciplines as you get through higher levels, as shown in the Mystic table. You must be at least level 5 to learn a greater discipline. In addition, whenever you gain a level, you can replace with a different discipline. You can replace a lesser discipline with a greater discipline, but only if you are at least level 5. So, I'm going to scroll back down, keep that in mind. So, here are the different orders. Adaptive body, or the disciplines, the rank, and the order. So here's a greater this is adaptive body. If you focus on this and make this your psychic focus, you don't need to eat, sleep, or breathe. You can spend 5 psi points, as you see here, 5, and then the C means concentration, I believe. Yes, I think that's true. Yeah, C is concentration. So, focus, make this your psi focus, don't need to eat, sleep, or breathe. 5 points, you can grant touch a creature, yourself included, give them resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder for an hour concentration. For 7 points, which again is only accessible later on, you can choose to give them immunity to one of those damage types. Concentration. Body of wind, take no falling damage. This you get a fly speed for 20 feet for each point you spend. Again, this is one of those ones that's 1 to 7. You must land at the end of the movement, otherwise you fall. So on and so forth. You get a fly speed for 10 minutes, you turn into mist and get resistance to various damages. Again, you can see all these, you can trade to get bonuses to your initiative. This one gives you proficiency with various skills. This one gets you resistance to psychic damage. Trying to see if any of these really jump out. This is a good one. Iron durability. While focused on this, you just get a +1 to your AC. For 2 points, spend 2 hit dice. Each roll, add your Constitution modifier, regain that many hit points. So this is a actionary, non-short rest-based way to heal yourself, on top of all your other abilities to heal yourself. An Ironhide, you can spend 1 to 3 points. As a reaction, when you're attacked, gain +2 AC for each psi point you spend. You spend these points after learning the attack's result, but before applying its effects. So, mind you, you could have heavy armor with a shield. So you're at 20, basically. This gives you 21. And if you spend 3 psi points out of your 64 at level 7, you can add an additional 6 to your AC. 27 AC as a reaction. Spend these hit points. It doesn't say that it remains, so I will point that out. That's something that might need clarification. But that's better than shield. The shield spell. And you also have heavy armor. Again, some of these get proficiency. Basically, this is the knowledge cleric's ability, but you can get different things. Get blind sight, tremor sense, advantage on wisdom checks, true sight, so you can see through illusions and walls and things like that. Or not illusions, illusions and invisible creatures and things. You charge 1 non-magical weapon you carry with enough psionic energy. Makes it a +1 weapon. Next attack you make. Yeah. So on and so forth. The target takes an extra d10 psychic damage. When you hit a target with melee attack, you can increase the damage to the target. Target takes an extra 1d10 for psi point. So you can spend 5 psi points and deal an extra 5d10 damage when you hit a target with a melee weapon attack. That's just a one-shot. That's, it doesn't seem to say that that's based... Oh, and that was the focus, makes it a +1, by the way. Ethereal weapon, next attack, bonus action, momentarily transfuse your weapon with psychic energy. Requires no attack roll. Instead, the target must make a dex saving throw against the discipline. On a failed save, the target takes normal damage and suffers any additional effects on a successful save. They take half damage. So, this is a way to turn your regular attacks into saving throw based abilities. Therefore, I mean, most things, if you're already using a magic weapon based off of this ability, therefore you would still be able to hit, and now you can just consistently hit. And if you can combine these two, ethereal weapon and lethal strike, you just added 5d10 to your damage. And the final one, which is concentration, turn a non-magical weapon if used with psychic energy for 10 minutes. It is now a +3 weapon. Seems a little powerful in my mind. Psionic talents, again, these are your cantrips. This one is basically light. You radiate light from your body. It's any color you like. It lasts an hour. You can extinguish it as a bonus action, non-concentration. You're holding a weapon. Melee weapon you're holding dissolve into your body. The process is harmless. Until the weapon reappears, it's inaccessible. You can have only one weapon at a time. You summon the weapon to your hand as a bonus action. So, basically you can suck a weapon inside your body mystically, so that way if you're ever captured or something, you're gonna be captured, people don't know you have a weapon, you can pull it out as you see fit. Bonus action, add 10 feet. For the rest of your turn, your walking speed goes up by 10, and the next time you stand up, you need to spend no more than 10 feet of movement to do so. Mind Meld, telepathically communicate with one creature within 120 feet of you. You can allow them to respond. Mind Thrust, this is your more melee ability. You blast a creature with psychic energy within 5 feet of you. They may make an intelligence saving throw or take a d6 psychic damage. If the target takes any damage from this, you can push them 10 feet away from you. Damage increases by a d6 per cantrip level. Thought Spear, psychically strike a creature within 120 feet. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take a d8 psychic damage. That gets better. And Night Eyes, probably the best cantrip that you could get. Grant yourself dark vision of 30 feet for an hour non-concentration. So that is the Mystic version 2.0. In my mind, I think it's a little OP. I'll be honest. Let me know what you guys think. Psionics something you're excited about? Would you like to see a Psionics book? They used to have a Psionics handbook back in the day for 3.5. Not sure what happened in 4th. Next up, we have the February survey. This, in our last survey, we asked you to rate the materials for our 2 prior Unearthed Arcana articles. Let's see what everybody said. Rune Magic and our inaugural Prestige class, the Rune Scribe, met with fairly positive, or mostly positive results. We have some room to improve the Runic Magic and how they interact with the Prestige class. However, the really interesting piece comes down to the overall reaction to the Prestige classes. We're definitely seeing mixed response to the concept. Of those of you who played 3rd edition, nearly 90% of you used Prestige classes. However, overall support for them fell off short after those marks. Just short of 60% of players wanted to use them in 5th edition. It's interesting to see that while Prestige classes saw a lot of use, many players didn't particularly like the concept. It's definitely something for us to consider as we examine the concept for 5th edition. To comment on that, personal opinion, I love Prestige classes. You can't see all the books up above me here, but all of the complete books, all of the various manuals and various things. I love Prestige classes. Character creation is my favorite part of any RPG ever, and I love options. I completely understand why people don't want Prestige classes in 5th edition. The whole concept of 5th edition being D&D 3.5 mixed with the simplicity of 4th edition into a package we have now. I get that, but I love options. I love augmenting things. I like thinking ahead when I'm building a level 1 character where that character is going to be at level 5, at level 10, at level 20, which almost never happens. But I like thinking of that, so I like additional options. But I understand why people don't, and if we don't see them in 5th edition, that's fine, but I do think we need other classes. Not just other versions of classes, which I get, again, is kind of the concept here, adding things like the Blade Singer, and the Storm Sorcerer, and the Battle Rager Barbarian, and all these Sword Coast Adventures expanded things. I like that, but I love to see if they couldn't come up with another class. Just a base class. I get that the 12 classes that they have, or 10, or however many it is, I think it's 12, or 10, I'm not sure, but whatever. They do cover a large scope. They cover most of the fantasy tropes, I guess you would say, of various classes. I can't really, for the life of me, think of one that they're not kind of honing in on that wouldn't easily fit as a subclass. Like, I'm thinking about things from various other games, and I'm like, oh, Chronomancer. Well, that seems like it's probably a wizard-based thing. Or, I, again, love the Hexblade or the Duskblade, and those could fit as fighters, they could fit as paladins, they could fit as warlocks or sorcerers. Your summoner type could easily be a druid or a ranger. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see anything. You kind of have most of the stuff. A spirit-based class like a shaman or a ritualist or something could easily be a tweak on a druid or a cleric. So I don't really know. Again, some of them don't fit just based on the way that a cleric, it's all about domains, and I mean, druid could get a lot of leeway with the circles, but because they're so kind of set in that, the heritage type, or for a sorcerer, and I mean, the School of Magic with a wizard gives you a large scope of things, which they kind of broke with the Bladesinger. It's not really a focus on a School of Magic, it's a focus on a fighting style incorporating magic, so that kind of breaks that mold. The monks have their orders and their way of, you know, path of whatever. I guess the other one that could really go pretty broad spectrum would be a barbarian, because they have the path, when you can make anything a path. Paladins have oaths, so you don't have a ton of leeway there. And then warlocks, you have a patron, so as long as you get a patron that basically lets you do what you want, you can kind of work things there. So that's my little spiel on prestige classes. Let's dive in further. We also asked for feedback on a variety of Underdark-themed classes we released as a part of Unearthed Arcana. Everything from that article was highly rated, especially the Shadow Sorceress Origin. I agree. The roleplay elements added to that option and the Undying Light Patron were especially welcome features. Aside from some tweaks of specific elements of class features, it looks like they are fairly balanced, clear options for the game. Awesome! Thank you, Wizards of the Coast. Shadow Sorcerer and Undying Light Warlock are two of my favorite things you've released in supplemental material. I really want to see it in the game. The new choices for the fighting style class feature, though as highly rated as the other options, tended to have a bit more negative reaction at the cost of people who are neutral to them. These options look like they need to balance pass against existing fighter style choices. For this month's survey, it dives into the class options released in January and the kits of the old article. It also asks for some basic information about who you are so we can get a better understanding who's answering these surveys. Thanks for your time to answer our queries, rather. So, again, the fighting styles were the Tunnel Fighter, which was the theoretically designed to be fighting in an enclosed space fighting style to allow you to basically have multiple reactions, and the Close Range Fighter, which I really liked, the Close Range Archer. You get a +1 to hit with your archery stuff, and it also gave you, you could fight up close with your weapon and not, with your ranged weapon and not provoke disadvantage, but all those features only worked out to 30 feet. And I've already taken this survey, so it won't let me go through it again. I could open it in an incognito tab and try it again, but I'll just walk you guys through basically what it is. They ask about how you feel about the 2 new Bard kits and the 2 new Fighter kits. My thoughts, the Bard ones are way better than the Fighter ones. The Cavalier Fighter is way better than the Scout. Scout could be better, in my mind. I think it also should be a Ranger or a Rogue thing. I realize that it's in reference to older 2nd edition stuff, and that was kind of the whole point of it, the kits, rather than a new subclass. I think the Satyr Bard was awesome. I really liked that it combined rogue elements with the Bard. But I think some of the later abilities would probably see limited use, like you being able to add a Bardic Inspiration die to turn a failure into a success, but then the DM be able to use that against you at a later point. But Thieves' Tools proficiencies and the Tumble ability, which was amazing, which as a bonus action lets you basically get dodge and disengage in one maneuver. Pretty great. And the College of Blades or Swords or whatever it was pretty neat as well. And then lastly, they have the one block like they always do. Anything else you want to tell us? And then the last thing is basically, how old are you? Where do you live? How much do you make at your job? What other games do you play? Like what other consoles or PC and things do you play on? That kind of stuff. So that's the February survey. Again, guys, you can see they do clearly take all of this information into account. So I highly recommend, if you have any feedback on the older kits or things like that, go in and fill these out, because as we can see, they're listening, and it sounds like we might be getting potentially an official published version of the Shadow Sorcerer and the Undying Light Warlock, which once those are published, that means those of us that play in the Adventure League can take them there and consider them canon things, or that might also, you know, fingers crossed, means we might get a new book, an actual physical book. More than likely, though, we'll probably get something like the Elemental Evil Player's Guide, like we got that gave us a Rakra, Genasi, and Goliaths, but we shall see. Okay, this right here is the Fallout. This is a Fallout. I'm not a huge Fallout guy myself, nothing against it. This is a D&D 5th edition character sheet, but with a Fallout theme to it. Again, you can see all the same information here: inspiration, initiative, AC, speed. Here's all of your saves at the top, followed by your skill proficiencies, HP, you know, current max experience points, temporary hit points, proficiency, vision, hit dice, death saves, your race. Here's your name, the level, the class, your attacks, some items, your tracking of your gold, other features. Here's your alignment, spells here, proficiencies, languages, and then all of your stats. It's just, you know, a fun way with a Fallout theme. If you have a friend that's big into Fallout, maybe they would want to use this rather than the standard sheet. Let's throw this over here. This is the most recent Matt Mercer. He releases a video every Friday on geekandsundry.com. They do eventually get uploaded to YouTube. It's a little bit delayed, though, so if you want to see them when they come out, you can head over to geekandsundry.com. This one is all about how to deal with social and non-combat encounters. This is a pretty big one. I prefer, personally, a lot of these. My hardest part with dealing with any of these is rewarding experience appropriate to that. Clearly, if it was meant to be a fight and you had a bunch of enemies planned out, then obviously that's an easy thing for you to do. Okay, whatever, they were going to fight a dragon and they talked their way out of fighting the dragon. I'll give them experience equivalent to defeating the dragon. Makes sense. But what if it was just like a regular kind of random thing? It turned into this whole big political intrigue piece where they held a council meeting and did all this stuff. How much XP do you reward for that? That's always been my toughest part about it. But it is useful information. Basically, the biggest thing that I can get out of that is don't ever count on your PCs ever only having a social encounter. If it's going to be a social encounter, still prepare the stats for the NPCs anyway, because they probably will end up screwing it up and end up turning it into a fight. And lastly is a Kickstarter that I am very excited about. I mentioned it at the beginning, but this, my friends, is Pugmire, a fantasy tabletop RPG similar to a Dungeons & Dragons. It is high fantasy. As you can see, it blew past its stretch goal. Here, we'll refresh this here. I've pledged, as you can see. They wanted $15,000 to make it. They've made $130,000, almost $135,000 at this point. I mean, if that image doesn't sum it up for you, I don't know what does. This is basically an RPG that takes place in our world long after the world of men has ended, and basically through one form or another, I'm not exactly sure how, dogs and other creatures have become sentient, and dogs are the main hero, and you play as the various dogs in the Pugmire universe. As you can see, it looks like it's very high fantasy. That looks like a paladin. You look like you have a cleric and a wizard and a ranger in the back there. And there's really great excerpts from a story right here. There's a whole bunch of stuff about the world of Pugmire. Here's the code of man that the dogs follow. Be a good dog, obey the master, bite only those who endanger you, protect your home, be loyal to those that are true, protect all from the unseen, and fetch what has been left behind. Again, look at the little corgi rogue fighting giant ants. Saint Bernard looks like a monk or a barbarian. I just think this is, I don't know, I'm in love with this. I think that this is hilarious. And I've already backed it. It's already gonna be made. Personally, I would not be surprised if you find very shortly after it's released at least a 1 or 2 shot game of me and various other people playing this, because I think it's hilarious and I think we have to do it. Here's the intro right here. There is early access to this as well. There's a bunch of reviews you can see here. So there's already added a bunch of add-ons. They've blown past a bunch of stretch goals, as you can see right here. This $130,000 one they've already gone by. So what does it cost to pledge? Let's see here. Let's jump up. Sorry guys, I know it's kind of scrolling pretty quick. So for $5 you can get you or your dog's name listed as part of the Pugmire pack. For $10 you can get a digital wallpaper. For a big 20 bucks, okay guys, $20 gets you a copy of the Pugmire PDF, a wallpaper, and you or your dog's name listed in the credits of the book as a puppy. So $20 gets you a copy of the game. There is also, if I watched the video, and basically there is a kind of a playtest version of it, and from what I understand, for those of us that back it, we will get a copy of the playtest right away. Like, before it ends, we will get a copy of the playtest, so you can go ahead and check it out. For $40, it'll be a good dog, and you get the physical book and the PDF along with the wallpaper and your name listed. Basically, whatever the name of the pledge tier is what your name will be listed as in the credits. For $55, you get both the physical and the PDF. You get the wallpaper, your name listed as a good dog, and you get the Game Master screen. For $75, which is what I chose, you get all of the things I've mentioned. You also get 7 Pugmire dice and pins, breed and calling pins. Then you can get 2 copies. Then the next one gets you assigned a book plate by the people and a special signature by Murray the Pug, who's the mascot. You'll see him if you watch the video. This is just a mixture of the above. $135, you get the dice and the book plate and the pins. For $160, that's 5 copies for like a retail store. For $200, you can name an area of the city of Pugmire. It hasn't been created yet, it's still being created to finish this. You can add a location of your choice. All locations become property of the company. For $250, this is the one that I was on the fence about, I'll tell you what. Your character's, or no, it wasn't $250. Your character's name will be used within the text of Pugmire or in an upcoming Pugmire book. So you can get your character in physically as part of the universe. For a big $350, which is, there's only 2 left at this point, because believe me, I thought about this. Your dog will be used for a model or as a model for a character in Pugmire or an upcoming Pugmire project. You need to obviously send pictures and stuff like that. Ooh, your dog's lace will be... I really kind of want to do this because I want one of my puppies to be a part of this. Then you can do basically for more, you can do a cat. Cats are not exactly the villains, but they can be. Yeah. So let's see what else we got. For $500, you may submit a character to be added to the Pugmire world. If you choose to, your dog can be used as the model. For $510, you can submit a character to be added. This is just an updated version of that. I think it's basically just the same. For $550, you can get your cat to basically be the same thing. I think this one's already taken. Yep, that one's already taken. So is the next level for the cat. And then this one is basically, you get the DM screen, you get a full 6 set of the 6 dice described in the add-on, and the creator of the game will run a session of Pugmire over Skype or Google Plus for you and a pack of your players. So that's pretty cool. You get the game run by the head of and creator of the game. And the biggest one that exists, which is already filled up, guys, the $1,000 pledges are already gone. Think about that. You get the game, you get the dice, you get the screen, you get the dice. You'll be listed in the special thanks section as a consulting developer. You'll have the opportunity to see every draft and be copied on every email between developer and writers pertaining to Pugmire or an upcoming Pugmire project. Because Pugmire is at the beginning of the expanded into a full world, this is an opportunity to participate in the game world being created. A work done of Pugmire will become property of Pugsteady. The add-ons are, again, you can get another copy of the book, you can get another physical copy of the book. The Pugmire dice, as you can see right here. $10, you can get a D4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2D20s. The D20s feature the Pugmire symbol prominently on the 20 spot. The Game Master screen is $15, the pins are $15, and then for $18 you can get these cards, which are basically the equivalent of spell cards, spells, tricks, conditions, all kinds of stuff. As you can see right here, it looks like Acid Splash, so it does seem to be fairly high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons-y. There's going to be a t-shirt, introductory adventure in PDF form. We'll commission 3 short stories that will be combined with later stretch goals to create a Pugmire fiction anthology. Intro adventure in the rulebook will include the Pugmire introductory adventure and the main rulebook itself, increasing the book's word count and usability. Fiction anthology, adding edition featuring Sean Patrick Fannin. We'll commission an additional 3 short stories that will be combined with the later stretch goals. They're going to add this into adventure maps and resources added to Roll20, so if you want to play online, which is great. At 105,000, one of the fiction stories becomes an audio drama. The cards are added as an add-on. And then next is, which they already have unlocked, I'm sure they just went to sleep and haven't found out, or they're watching a big game or whatnot. We increase our art budget. We'll be able to commission even more awesome artwork, 20% more artwork. 155, fiction anthology added featuring Aaron Rosenberg, additional 3 stories. And 170,000 is an interactive audio drama. Eddie will work with Dave Grossman, the guy behind The Secret of Monkey Island, to make an interactive Pugmire audio drama. So, guys, be a good dog. Sorry, I probably got more excited about that than I should have. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you go out and support any of the Kickstarter things. If you guys also are developers or creating your own modules or game worlds and stuff like that, I love supporting indie game developers in both the video game sense and the tabletop and RPG style. So if you guys are out there looking to kickstart your own stuff, or you already got it out there, please email me, let me know. Comment on this video, whatever it is. I'd love to help give you guys exposure. I love backing things. I'm a Kickstarter addict. I have so many Kickstarter related products kicking around in here. So please, by all means, let me know. I'd love to get you guys some promotion. At least a little bit the meager that I can offer on this channel. But anyway, if you want to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more D&D weekly updates like this, reviews on various Dungeons & Dragons projects, and any of the 3 or so different games that I'm playing in, you can click right over here to subscribe to the channel. Again, we're always coming up with new stuff. 2016 just started. Convention season's coming up. I'm a big convention goer, and I'm going to be at PAX East and a bunch of other Wizard World and smaller time conventions where I do videos. I film the panels if they let me. I do walk-around videos, and I take a lot of pictures, selfies with you guys, whatever you want, I'm there. So let's hang out if we can. Maybe play some games together at PAX. That'd be fun. Over here. Nope, I was right the first time. Nope, I was wrong. Over here. There we go. That's our Tuesday Dungeons & Dragons campaign. This past Tuesday, it's actually broken up into episode 19 into 2 videos because we actually played for 5 hours. And for a little bit of an FYI, we don't start playing till around 8:30, 9 p.m. So we went till about 2 in the morning. This is a fun little game that I came up with. It's full stop. It's ripped off of in like a Frozen themed. They fight an evil ice sorceress named Nelsa. Real clever with the names, I know, who summons ice monsters and snowmen to fight for her. So if you want to see more about that, you can check right up here. On Thursday, every other Thursday, we also stream. We stream that game as well, but every other Thursday we stream a game that we play in Roll20. We've decided to go more Theater of the Mind than anything else, and that's right here. We're playing through Princes of the Apocalypse. Some of the crew is the same as the Tuesday game. But there's some different folks as well, so if you want to see Elemental Evil be played through by a group of weird people and want to see me scream and get all weird into acting like a prisoner that gets captured who's rethinking his life, you can check right there. And if you want to see what it's like to D&D game where I'm actually being a player and not actually running things, you can click down the bottom there for Roll for Roll. That is a game very heavy roleplay related. There's a playlist that'll be of all the episodes so far. It's me and a couple of other folks you may know from YouTube or Twitch. We're playing together in a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Season 1 has already wrapped. We are coming up. I think there's 9 episodes out in that playlist at this current point. Season 1 will probably come out somewhere near 12 or 13 episodes. And then we'll have Season 2 is already starting filming very shortly, so you can be on the lookout for that. So if you like what you see there, would you guys just do me a favor and go ahead and give Roll for Roll, the YouTube channel, a subscription? Or maybe check out the Twitter and follow us over there. I do see all the comments over there, as well as the stuff on Twitter, along with the other folks as well. So, anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have a great week and a great start to your February. Hopefully, the team you're rooting for, which I believe, if I heard correctly, was the Broncos, won the Super Bowl. So, if you're a Broncos fan, go Broncos. Sorry, Panthers, if you're a Panthers fan. But anyway, guys, have a great week and happy gaming, and I will see you next time.